As we finish unpacking, thanks for the feedback. I have to admit, this has been one of the more challenging books we've covered to date. I'm probably going to go back and reread it over the summer because it is packed full of phenomenal advice on how to start receiving feedback better, and then ultimately how to give your team feedback better. So as we've unpacked in our previous videos, those three triggers, the truth triggers, the relationship triggers, and the identity triggers, and how they can get in the way of us receiving feedback, and how they're going to get in the way of our teams receiving feedback. So as we wrap up the book, I really want to focus on that conversation element, because I think there's just a great frame that Douglas and Sheila outlined in navigating the conversation. And that there's really this arc of the conversation. There's an open, a body, and a close to any feedback conversation. So the open is all about getting aligned, right? Why are you there? Clarifying that purpose, right? Is this feedback that you're giving? Well, what kind? Is it the appreciation, the coaching, the evaluation, or it might be multiple of those? So clarifying the purpose of why you're there, right? And who's the decision maker in this process? Is it final? Is this a negotiable conversation? Just really clarifying where you are and getting aligned into the conversation. Because as you move from that open to that body of the conversation, there are 4 skills that you're going to need to navigate that feedback conversation. So 1 is to listen. Listen for where you aren't aligned. Listen for what's important for them, because you may be just coming in strongly with what you see. Listen for what they see. Look for opportunities for alignment. Look for opportunities where you see things differently, because that's going to be really critical as you go through the rest of this process. Then asserting is that second key skill, and pointing out what is missing, what's been left out. And then what great communicators often do, and Douglas and Sheila pulled this out a little bit, is while this is going on, they are diagnosing how the conversation might be going off, trying to describe that, and then propose a shift. So be aware of where you are in the process, because if you get too emotionally connected in the moment, you may not see where you're going off track, and then switch tracking may be happening. So being aware of the process, and then ultimately getting to solving the problem. And that starts with creating possibilities. What's going to work for you? What's going to work for them? What are those possibilities? And dig for the interest. Where do they get energy? And it's going to open up more possibilities, and you can ultimately generate some options. It's like, where are we going from this conversation? And once you have those options in place, and this is probably the one thing I would leave you with as you in any of these conversations, because it's not going to be the first one and it won't be the last, is no matter where this conversation ends up, might feel a little heated, might be animated, or you might come up with some great possibility, close with commitment. What is going to happen after the conversation tomorrow, the next day? How do we know that this is being successful? How are we going to keep each other accountable? That is the one thing I would focus you in on, making sure those every conversation closes with commitment. What are we going to do? What do you need from me? What do I need from you? How are we going to check back in to make sure that we're moving to this new possibility that we've created. Shoot me an email. Tell me what you're loving about Leader Reads, and I'll make sure that you're aware as we move forward. So I look forward to seeing you next month as we unpack our new book, Soundtracks. More to come on that.